Oh my gosh, every single time. Well, hello. That's my screen real estate. Okay, let's do this. Let's have a short recap on what's going on before I start going over it. Before we start going through it. Because we're in the middle of a trial right now, so I don't think we're going to do a recap. Alright. So, there was a murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. But there was another murder of the same guy in a different spot. And so, anyway, yeah, there's only one body, so we're just trying to figure out what the heck went on in the evidence room, where it appears that there was some sort of attack or struggle or something. But there's all sorts of shenanigans going on there. So we're going to talk to the guy who's supposed to be guarding it, Jake Marshall. Trying to think what else there is going on in the case. Oh, yeah. Someone ate the second body. Or, maybe he didn't die. Since there's only one body. Alright, here we go. I say we let him go! No! In that Pee-wee movie I had you watch that one time. That guy said we kill him! Yeah! I said we tear him apart! Yeah! And then Pee-wee was like, I said we let him go! And you're like, no! Anyway. Yeah, maybe he didn't die. Yeah, maybe he didn't, because they haven't produced a body or anything. Anyway. The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Emma didn't come back. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Hey, partner. Oh, I'm just a man, same as you, wandering the trails of civilization. And occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it. Oh! I know, you're a patrolman. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out. I know, look at that string chord. I love his song so much. Reminds me of that song Maxwell's Silver Hammer, where Rose and Valerie say Max must go free, even though he killed everyone in the song. That sounds super familiar. That sounds so familiar. Anyway. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling Wind? I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime took place. Oh yeah, that's right. Beatles song. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? The desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up. Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony on the day of the crime. In plain Old English. Old English, partner. Well, alright. Henceforth. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. They said I was supposed to make around 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street side saloon at the time I went down. Just an innocent traveling man. So if you out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. So you weren't even there, you're off drinking. For shame, drinking while on the job. Ugh. Anyway, I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Wait a minute. What do you mean by the 2 security systems? By 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about these. Yes, well, what about the fingerprint-activated locks on the evidence locker? Fingerprint-activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? He's not being very helpful. He's not that good with machines or following orders. Everyone got their weaknesses, now don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. Day of crime. Dun, 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 dun. I love this music too. The music in this game is great. And it's great in every game that I can even remember. I think the cornered music when you're like about to get them is like a little on the meh side in the second game, but that's where everything sucks anyway, so. I think other than that, all the music in that game is good. Anyway. My job is to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room? I just made sure nothing moved on the security camera monitor. That room's so still. Even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who interred the recordings. I don't know what that word means. I don't know what this is. I'm gonna Google that right now. Inter. Place in a grave or tomb, typically with funeral rites. What a sweet frickin' way to use that word, dude. Good job. You interred them? Videos of nothing aren't that useful. When the time would come, I'd erase the tape. If nothing unusual is recorded, tapes are to be erased every 6 hours. I think in real life, those tapes are every 2 weeks. Usually, I mean, you could do more than that, but I think the standard is like 2 weeks. Each time I'd erase the tape, felt like I was erasing a part of my life. This guy has a flair for the dramatic, but it isn't going to do him any good. So in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room? They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right? Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? And I told you that ain't my style. Why every 2 weeks if there's nothing on it? Why every 2 weeks? It's not every 2 weeks, it's things that are 2 weeks or older get deleted from the system. And it's just because things can happen and then you need to look back on it. Sometimes you don't know exactly when something happens or where it happens. Sometimes you don't hear about things for a few days, so 2 weeks is just like this buffer zone. I used to have access to all the cameras at my work, and I would have to like find incidents and stuff and tell people like what actually happened. So like, for instance, there was this time when this guy dumped like this toxic waste crap on the ground, and we were like, who did it? And he was like 2 or 3 feet off of camera. So I had to track everybody's movements to see who it was and who was around, who could tell me who the guy was. So I had like my little paper and I'm like writing down times and people who were near the area. Anyway. I showed you a video of me walking by that area too. Because I was scoping out the area, that's why I walked through there. Anyway, I told you that ain't my style. I'm afraid I don't understand. No desperado I know lets rules get in his way. No desperados I know join the police force. So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime, just between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day. There was a rubber glove stuck to the victim's locker, stuck in the victim's locker. Did you know anything about that? Plays the current attorney song as he takes notes. Yeah, that's... Sometimes when I need to focus, I'll play the song of the fourth game's thinking music. It's like the same, like you're pressing them for stuff. For whatever reason, the fourth game's music always stuck in my head. Sorry, partner, can't say I do. I haven't been in that crypt in weeks. How does this guy avoid being fired? Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. You used to be a detective, so you've used the evidence room in the past, correct? Of course, back in the day, my locker was a gold mine of evidence. And yet, you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism? Sorry, partner, I ain't good with machines. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works. That's quite incredible. The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence. Gumshoe did say that. Now that he mentions it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too. Except the guy who guards it should know that. At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the case. Crime. Can you tell us what you were doing when the crime took place? If I remember right, I was in the street side saloon. Oh, bike works either, to be honest. I mean, I kinda do. Yes. Physics. Wheels? Chain. Rockets. That's about it. Anyway. What were you doing at a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. My man. Not even Angel's steak lunches can beat that parlor's Van Gogh's Scipio pasta. I have no idea what you just said, dude. Do you mean to tell us you abandoned your duties to eat some noodles? Not all desperados eat tacos, partner. I guess you know I'm going to get manicure and pedicure done. Always get that before a trip. That meant at Disney. I was like, to do that? That's not what I meant. I hope this has at least taught you a lesson. That's strange. This is usually where Edward says, Did you not want to raise this year? That's Phoenix trying to do Edgeworth's voice. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. Out of ammo, Officer Marshall? That's right, partner. Or as you call it, dividends. If you plan to pin me to this crime, you better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back west into the sunset. One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the witness doesn't appear to have seen anything. Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that. Apparently your superiors don't. Okay, I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I best keep my cool. Before I use it, though, I'd better up the ante. Oh yeah, he doesn't have ammo to talk to. she freaked out because she was like, the Donnie Darko cases. Wah! Alright, let's find us that there, whatever it's called. Donnie Darko movie? Joe Dark? Is that the name of the dude? Donnie Darko's a cult classic movie. I've never seen it. My job is to keep a wary eye on a bone orchard. True. Can't contradict that. Can I watch Disney movies before you're Disney, please? Yeah, we can do that. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day. That ain't my style. I don't have any evidence that has anything to do with him making rounds. He said he didn't do it anyway, so I'd have to show that he was doing rounds or contradict 3 times a day. I don't think I have anything like that. Besides the rooms protect that 2 security systems anyway. ID card, fingerprints, so he's talking about, or not ID card and security cameras, what he's talking about. We'd have to show that he knows about the fingerprint system and that that's a lie. I don't think we can prove that he knows that there's a fingerprint system. I mean, we have to be like, but you have a locker! And I don't think he does, or if he does, we don't know that he does. I don't know. The bunny suit, Seth Rogen had a small role. Oh, okay. I think I've heard something about the bunny suit. That's all I got. If I remember right, I was at the Side Street Saloon at the time it went down. What's the other thing he says? Innocent child and man, so you're out of ammo. Okay. He must have been there because of the fingerprint, right? That's the trump card that he was talking about? So, that's what it is, right? Joe Dark killings. Oh, we never looked at this. SL9 incident. Closed. Perpetrator Joe Dark. Crime serial killer sentenced to death. Killed Edward Jones, Edith Kirby, Jeb Bates, Jason Knight, Rachel Moss, Neil Marshall. Neil Marshall. So his brother, probably, or maybe dad, was killed by the serial killer in a case from before. Interesting. Head prosecutor Miles Edgeworth, Juana and Emma both saw this happen? Wow, so they all know this case really well. Investigation Task Force Damon Gant, Lana Skye, so they worked on that too. Head investigators Bruce Goodman, investigator Jake Marshall, Angel Starr. This right here reeks of somebody offing Bruce Goodman because he knew something about this case that wasn't supposed to get out. I actually think I remember the rest of the case now, just based off of that. It's the bloody fingerprints. Yeah, Marshall's fingerprints. Yep. Objection! Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. It's real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects. That is, make my rounds about once a month. Only natural, my fingerprints will be in there. Objection! Was this case during the last one of Edgeworth being blamed? No, it has nothing to do with that. Because Edgeworth was the head prosecutor. I don't think those cases are tied together at all. I think this is a completely different case about a serial killer. I don't think it has anything to do with Yanni Yogi. Anytime I think of Yanni Yogi, I always think of that scene in the movie where he's walking back to his house and there's all those like hate signs and stuff that are like printed that people stuck up to his house, blaming him for something that he didn't do or whatever. And then he goes inside and he finds his wife dead. That scene always stuck with me so much. Anyway, I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. And I remember you saying something, they were tied somehow. This case and the SL9 case are tied. Witness, what was the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene. The blood was wiped away, however, a luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with their head on his shoulders. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall? About the blood-stained fingerprints? Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints. Was the SL9 case in the last game? No, that was... DL6, I think, is the name of the Yanni Yogi one that tied into the past. SL9 is referring to the Joe Dark killings, which we haven't found out about yet. But his brother died, or dad, or somebody related to him. Bloodstained fingerprints. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as a bloodstained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. Bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or did you know? Or didn't you know that the murderer was wearing gloves? See, I had nothing to do with it. The witness explanation appears valid, although there is room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. This guy's hiding something, and I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it. Bloodstained fingerprints. I'm gonna save. If you, like, leave the game on the save screen, I think the music slowly fades out, because every time when I open the game up, it's on the save screen. It just fades back in once I start moving again. Anyway. That's because, how did you put it, pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? How do you mean? I mean what I said. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. Wait, we didn't say which locker we found the fingerprint on. No, it's in there now. There's a heap of broken dreams. I see. It'd be strange if my fingerprints weren't all over that locker. Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from that locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without ever knowing it. Oh, that's what they mean by some detectives don't know it's there, because you can't see it, so it just automatically does it. That makes so much more sense now. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the bloodstained handprint. So then, well, what about the bloody handprint? It wasn't mine. It's no mystery. Please explain. My locker's covered with my fingerprints. Just so happened the murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. The chances of that not happening. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me for a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? Bloodstain and fingerprint are completely unrelated. But you know that. Unrelated? They're as different as night and day. Kind of like cereal and cereal. One's got to do with breakfast while the other's a type of murder. He's right, although seemingly alike, they're totally different. I don't see what homonyms have to do with this. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? You're wearing gloves right now, but they're fingerless gloves! How do you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. Yeah, I'm not sure why they decided to say serial only means serial murdering, but yeah. There was a blood stain at the scene. Looked to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. We found Gumshoe. So that would mean the murderer wearing gloves happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? This seal of blood, it's in the desert. It's just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality. This is it. The security tape. As long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. Bad wasn't me in that video, right, partner? What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. Objection! But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. For some reason, the camera's at hip height, which is really weird. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. Objection! We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now. Oh yeah, I know. He's constantly like shaving or whatever. Yeah. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright. You might wind up being the one making the mistake. That's why I can save and you can't. 'Cause I'm the main character. Now then, let's have another look at the video. Show us this incriminating evidence of the witness, Officer Jake Marshall. What am I looking for? I never noticed that little scratch on his little eye thing right there. There's his locker. Okay. Can't see his face. The glove falls out. Here comes Meekins. Do 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 do. And Meekins goes and confronts him. And he's got a knife in his hand. I can see it. Can you like do a fast forward or just like? Oh, see, he's got blood on his. Look at that. See that? Where's that come from? That bugs the heck out of me. How does he get blood on his shoulder? Nothing has even really happened yet. Is it not blood? And Meekins is knocked out. So then Marshall's crawling across the floor right now, right? To get out? Because he knows the camera can't see the floor? Right? Was that always... That was not always there. What? What is that? That girl wears the same jacket, right? Yeah, I think so. Take that! I don't remember that every other time we've watched this. Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. Days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Did you sum that up in what you have? Did you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Maybe he's eating PB&J sandwich, but super sloppy. Yeah, very well. You can clearly be seen in the video! Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. That locker with the white cloth sticking out. That was what the witnesses... That was the witnesses, I believe. Now let's... Yeah, his locker is what he was going to say. Now let's rewind the video a bit. We don't have to do that. But the game is going to make us... He can crawl really fast. Oh, the white cloth, it's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then, it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. I know, I love the music, it's so good. Hoarding toilet paper. Oh, I missed a line. Hold your horses. Sorry, partner, you got the wrong man. What if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. I like how it's like, pew! And makes a little gun sound when he points at you. That's great. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened the locker and stuck it in. Not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why's everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? This guy isn't just playing dumb, he really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Go ahead, knock all your bluff. You say open that locker? No. Okay, you big dumb. Take that! Fingerprint sensor. We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. Well, what kind of crazy talk is this? Well, the Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks here aren't that obvious. There are even some people in the force who don't know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? I only got 1 word for you, partner. No! Yep, no one else could have opened it. Order, order, order again. Witness, explain yourself. If this is a joke, it's the worst I ever heard. And I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Olay, please answer the question. What is he now, a bullfighter? That's right. That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can. Have a look at these floor plans. There's no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet, Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then, where was the witness?
It seems Mr. Wright already has an answer.
That's right. The only possible conclusion.
Well then, let's hear it.
So, but I missed the text, but I think they're asking me, what's he eating? I have no idea. Chewing on leather or something? I don't know. I have no idea what they asked me. I missed it. I think what they asked was like, where was Officer Marshall? Well, he's the guy. He's dressed as Bruce Goodman.
Take that!
Officer Marshall was standing right here.
There, but that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was.
Correct. Unless that man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in this video is Officer Marshall. It was you dressed up like Detective Goodman! Oh yeah, I like this song too. I like all the songs.
Objection!
But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure.
Objection!
May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted.
When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show me his card, sir.
Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond?
He suddenly pulled a knife on me.
Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had had his ID card, why didn't he just show it?
Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so it must have been carried.
The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card.
No, I get it.
If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? Everybody does the perjuries in Phoenix, right? You've got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it. You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proof not dressed up as the victim.
I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition.
I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining.
Well, Mr. Rat, do you have any evidence bringing beyond the shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim?
Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that.
I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. You're the one who couldn't take the desert heat.
Mac, this can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do? I can save the game.
It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. And I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics.
The basics? That evidence wouldn't just be conjecture? I don't know court terms. For me, that would be what Mio used to tell me. Facts. Try thinking outside the box. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather, I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise.
Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of crime. Yet he did, despite the chance that he might have been discovered later, as it has been.
Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker.
According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then, after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason.
Probably to save evidence. Something. I don't know.
The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that. He opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth?
Perhaps the video is the key to all of our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so the video is my only shot. Bloody coat? Very well, let's take yet another look at the security tape. After the... Sorry, I hear a weird sound. Okay, they're just listening to music really loud out there. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to open his locker. Why do I have to watch this one more time? Oh, because he had to stash his coat so that no one would see it? Is that it? It's the only thing we haven't presented so far, I think. Because he had to stash the coat somewhere, right? Didn't he bleed out a whole bunch? So it wouldn't have just been on the coat either. How did he even get cut? I don't understand. This is why we save.
Take that!
For some reason, you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman and enter the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet. Yep. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. The bloody white coat. You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Wasn't he still bleeding? Like, it was like 1 second and there was that much blood on the coat. And then there was a bunch of blood around the area, too. What? Not bad, partner. Now then, Officer Marshall. Are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago. You were only half as persistent then as you are today. Y'all wouldn't have to be here now would we? Officer Marshall! Tell the court what you did. All of it. Alright. It seems the time has come. Marshall's confession. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID card and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. Wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out, managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. And if no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is that he's the donor. It was way too much blood for a small donation. Such a small donation. Officer Marshall's confession. Do 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 do. I just had to do it that day. I couldn't stand by and let it die.
Hold it!
When you say it, you mean... Do you even have to ask, partner? SL9 incident.
2 years ago, the past since that case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transferal that day.
Not if I have anything to say about it. That incident's not over. But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When the case is closed, Only that case's lead detective who went through the evidence. And I wanted to have a good look at it myself one more time, no matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner, that case is mine.
But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it?
It was Bruce Goodman. That day was my last chance. That's why. Stole the detective's ID card and dressed like him. I plan to take out the evidence.
Hold it!
Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman?
If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transfer, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere.
So you did it to fool the security camera and the detective's ID card.
I stole that the morning of the incident.
So that really was why Goodman started filing out a lost item report.
I returned his ID card, and I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot.
The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. And so essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight.
What do you mean, partner?
I mean the fingerprint activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprint. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. But he could because a rubber glove just happened to be stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall.
Yeah, that still doesn't make sense. Does he want the case because his brother was killed? Probably. There's probably something in that case that is unresolved. And somebody probably killed Goodman for a similar reason. Because they wanted to keep the case quiet or something. Maybe they saw Goodman go into the evidence locker, but it was really Marshall, and so they thought he was gonna revive this case or something, and then they killed Goodman, but it was actually Marshall trying to stop it. I don't know, something like that. Does he want the case because his brother was killed? Probably, yeah. Wait, I just read that and responded to that, and then reread it. Anyway, I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out.
Hold it!
You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off?
Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time.
But Officer Meekins certainly is a one-in-a-million type of person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. Now I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year. When did Edgeworth get so much influence?
Anyway, he threw himself at me, and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry I had to turn out that way. With me knocking him out and everything.
By the way, what happened to your knife?
Oh, you mean this one?
I don't know what to say. So you knocked Officer Meekins out, and...
He's easy, partner. He's like a piece of tissue paper, floating in the wind in my general direction. But yeah. I managed to escape. Maybe the errors wouldn't become camera. Yeah, that'd be cool if they could.
So you did your research beforehand?
Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I don't think it would make a difference, though. Security tape was erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left.
However, you blooded your coat in the struggle with Officer Meekins.
If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there.
What was Officer Meekins doing during that time?
What else? He was sleeping like a baby. Mattress world.
So what you're saying is, on that day, there wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15! But the blood found at this scene clearly indicates the crime took place.
What, are you blind? Victim's shown on that tape to me, and I'm not dead yet, partner.
So you stole evidence from the locker?
Actually, no, I didn't.
Why not?
When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone.
What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence? It's still missing, Your Honor. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing?
Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer.
Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID? Injuring a police officer? This is no small offense.
Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary.
Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution.
Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with.
The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more.
I can't just forget the SL9 incident. You know why?
But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it?
That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. And Joe Dark was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence. And I remember the Joe Dark case. It involves serial murders, didn't it?
Serial murders. I don't intend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about.
What happened?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out.
Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. It's his brother. I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everything involved here is related to that case, some way to that case. And I better take another look at the files.
I had to do with that day. Can't forget it, you know why? Let me just get through my stacks and piles of evidence. There it is.
Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident.
Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner.
I have the SL9 incident file right here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. It's a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man?
Neil Marshall.
Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago, he received the same lousy prosecutor award you got.
What? The prosecutor?
You must be talking about the King of Prosecutors Award.
Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did.
That's right. He was killed. And the case fell into your hands.
So what's his relation to you?
He was my brother.
Oh, rip.
He was investigating the murders of Damon Gang, the then Deputy Chief of Police. The detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer.
Oh, that's right. There was 2 cowboys, remember? When we first saw this, he was the other cowboy.
We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. At least according to public records.
What do you mean?
My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight.
And that's it. And that's your reason for your insane actions.
There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try and hide it, you can't fool me.
Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime.
And that was the last day the SL9 case could be reopened.
Not set.
Not satisfied with its resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence.
Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled.
Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place, and at the police department that day. The things that happened by chance never cease to amaze me. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, the fake murder was going on at the police department.
Chance? It's gotta be more than that.
If no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which in turn means only one person could have committed this crime: Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye.
Objection! What about the blood on his shoulder, though? Beacons? I don't know. They should probably examine that before, anything. But wait, a verdict hasn't been reached in yesterday's trial.
Objection!
Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today.
But
there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department.
it seems to me this boy's got the draw on you, partner.
And all of the mysteries at the police department have been resolved, no doubt about it. Our sole murderer took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Skye. And the testimony of one Miss Angel Star is completely incontestable.
Except all the contradictions. And the lies.
And if you have a response, make it a single word or less.
Arg!
And I rest my case.
It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no more room for doubt.
Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department.
There's no doubt about what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tape really was fake. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty.
Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant.
Wait, Your Honor, wait! Your Honor, wait! The defense has an objection, a scientific objection, right? What do you mean, right?
Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian?
Your Honor? Oh, in a sense. Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking for is a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please.
I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute, and I'll give you 3.
Edgeworth is the nicer guy after the first game.
I was kind of in shock. Me finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dart killings.
Now that she mentions it, the names of both the Sky sisters were in that file.
But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day, so I knew that his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing. The other handprint.
You mean the traces of blood found on the Detective Gumshoe's locker?
But no fingerprints were found on it, right?
No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again.
So, did you find something?
No.
Huh?
What? Sorry, I guess I'm not that much of a scientific investigator after all.
Is that all?
Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student.
And I'm just an attorney. An ace attorney. Play my game. They have great music.
But Mr. Wright, the traces of blood are the only clue we have. We can't find something wrong with them. Please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If you can save Lana, it's you.
Me? Oh boy, wait a second.
Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regards to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain?
It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark.
Right, because when did that happen? Like, seriously, when did that happen?
Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this?
Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use. But still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, the matter will be...
Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day.
Yes, Your Honor. If I ever needed to concentrate, it's now.
Got the blood shoulder.
Alright. Mia had an accident and I missed a lot. What's going on? Well, they went to hand down the verdict to Lana, and then Emma rushed in and was like, wait, I need a minute of your time, wait. And then she was like, I went back to examine stuff, and did you find anything? And she's like, no, but look at this handprint. There has to be something wrong with it, right? Mr. Wright, can you find something wrong with it? And that handprint right there that's on the screen that they're kind of highlighting on that locker, when did that happen? Remember? Because he crawled across the floor and he went and opened his locker and he left a bloody handprint on that locker. Why would he have ever touched that locker that Gumshoe had? Which was behind the blue badger, right? So we can't see it. But when would he have touched it? What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? I object! This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction.
The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright.
You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them?
Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing.
Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there?
Yes, something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark.
Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright.
With all the evidence here, there's gotta be something that can be used. But yeah.
The question is, which evidence can prove something is missing from the floor plan?
The freaking blue badger!
What about that piece of plywood?
The blue badger, mascot of the police force, defender of truth, and guardian of proof.
Little pumpkin seed fragment. Sometimes they get kind of stuck towards the back of your throat. Okay. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright.
Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The blue badger is not here. So watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well?
Well, what?
That's right. So long as the blue badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker.
What? What? So that means, what exactly does that mean?
It means it can't be done.
What do you say? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker.
Don't look at me, I didn't put it there.
Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically.
Emma.
On that afternoon, Officer Meekrams was the one who brought the blue badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker.
Unless they moved it, put a handprint, and moved it back or something, which would be really weird, but yeah. So, that must mean this blood mark was left there before the blue badger was brought in?
Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my court.
It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once but twice.
But how?
One time it was captured on this tape taken by the security camera.
Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is the other time. Well, how do we know that Meekins didn't put it on that locker? I guess you could just test it and see. Why don't we know whose blood that is? Why don't we do a blood test? What's wrong with us? Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. I guess because there's not enough blood to test it? It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered! We're going there, bud.
That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim.
The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark left on the locker.
And so then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred.
When did the first incident occur?
To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room.
That's right, the blood mark on the locker proves this.
Very well, then tell us, when did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edwards said, proof must be presented.
Proof that shows that a murder took place, there's only one piece of evidence that can show that.
Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? What shows when the first crime took place?
It's... that! The crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required.
An ID card? Oh, the ID card record.
Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel to the evidence room at, let's see here, 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be
4:40 p.m. Ah. Miles Edgeworth. Oh, just what have you done?
I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy.
Drop the act, witness. And it doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me.
I read when I did the judges. No, I ain't getting it.
I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminal test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood.
That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer.
They would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry the body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. 20 minutes, though, that's pretty likely. I could see that. That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence.
Let's look at this chart again. There's only one other card number remaining. 77777777.
Talk about a lucky number.
But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room?
Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 77777777.
Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 777777777. That's one 7 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least at present.
What?
Explain yourself, son.
The ID number 7777777 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity.
But that's ridiculous. Just how...
I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one such situation in which we can be granted such authority. If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted.
An official charge?
Y'all like, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries, that's how the prosecutor's office operates. Oh shoot, kinda sounds like that. That's attacking your face. At least it's cute.
And I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. And I would appreciate it if you'd keep your slander to yourself.
Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask you a question.
Yes?
No, not you, to her. The defendant's sitting over there. Your own little executive.
Lana? Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. And of course, we've looked up her ID number, and it's not 777777.
Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident.
Yes, on 90.
Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. That trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence?
Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor?
Trying to watch, but Mia's all over me, and I think she pierced my nose. Ow, jeez, that hurts.
I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, and I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time,
occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did.
Lana?
I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. Before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by it.
Defendant, just what are you saying?
I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look at me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye, and say that you did?
Chief Prosecutor, you didn't.
I don't have to, Officer Marshall.
Why won't you answer him?
Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict deserved.
Wait, Lana!
Even if it involved forging evidence. I'm gonna go get myself some pumpkin seeds, and I'll be right back. After these messages. Okay. Why don't you just be honest? Because they're saying that she used forged evidence to get somebody killed. So, it's a pretty bad crime, you know what I mean? Pretty bad crime. Even if he was a serial killer. Just saying. You don't forge evidence. Anyway. See? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. It's not how you'd say it at all.
No! No! Order! 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 Where's my order?
Lana's remarks caused such a stir, the chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day, which never happens except this case goes on for freaking ever. Oh, I thought I did save. Oh, there we go. Seems like she did. Haha. February 24th. 3:12 p.m.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said.
That's probably why she was like, I am a murderer, because I forged evidence to get somebody killed. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to in order to get a verdict we deserve. Already did this, but they always do a recap, so.
I didn't know. I never knew that the S9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dark killings.
Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me.
Why wanted Dark convicted so badly? That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me.
What do you mean what happened to you?
It's all there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence.
But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma?
On the night prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me.
What? He tried to kill you?
Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, he was only trying to save me.
So that means you...
Yes, I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial.
I didn't see that one coming.
It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time, a year or two. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was all alone in my sister's office, and we were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. And suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office. Joe Dark.
Joe Dark? Yeah, but if you forge evidence to get somebody convicted and then people find out about it, they're never going to trust the evidence of the prosecutor's office, and then they're not going to be able to accept guilty verdicts. It's kind of like a really big deal. For like the trust of all the prosecutors. Anyway.
It was like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Then Prosecutor Marshall showed up.
Jake Marshall's brother?
Joe Dark tried to take me hostage. Before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him.
Then what happened? I didn't hear you, what? So she's forging evidence to get somebody killed, and people find out that she's done that? Then all of her previous cases suddenly come into question, right? Because she could have forged evidence on any of the cases. And it doesn't even necessarily stop with her. All the people that she worked with, they could have been in on it. The entire trust of the prosecutor's office, in general, would go down if they were known for forging evidence. So it's like, kind of a huge deal to forge evidence, even if it is a serial killer.
I'll never forget it. Lightning struck, and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw was burned in my mind, a permanent picture. I can still see it now.
A permanent picture? Tell me all about that. Do they bring that up in the game? Sure they do, I don't know.
I don't remember the moment.
Also, take this into account, right? People already don't like Edgeworth in this universe. They think that he was pulling some sort of tomfoolery and possibly forging evidence already. Because of, I think it was the fourth case in the game, right? There was something about that in there too. About how like Von Karma was basically doing anything to get a guilty verdict. So take into account that the trust is already kind of low. But he was in the clear since last trial. He's in the clear for... Yeah, he didn't do the murder. He kind of has to build his reputation. from that point. Anyway.
I don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall.
So you weren't able to testify about that?
No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why why she made up the crime.
Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence?
The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Wanted to forge the evidence, and Mr. Edgeworth used it.
Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes, and I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. Rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean.
Yeah, see, there's rumors going on about him forging evidence. Her type Mia's all over me. Ah!
I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened.
So it's true. Even though he may not have known it, Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence.
In that case, I knew the woman was never the same. She became cold, like she is today.
She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma.
Well, what did you
See in the instant that that crime occurred. Relive those horrible memories for me, please. Joe Dark has a... His head is an ice cream cone, I don't know what else to say. Anyway.
Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife.
Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl.
I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Alana was cradling me in her arms.
He didn't know it's falsified, right? Yeah, but then people don't know that he doesn't know it's falsified, and they like suspect him of it. Whereas me, your Uranus looks delicious, yeah. Poor Emma. You've been through so much.
I couldn't bring myself to testify about that incident. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good.
2 years ago. You must have been 14. That's understandable. People don't usually learn to draw until they're like 15 or something.
Once it was all over, I made up my mind. Decided when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies, and find evidence to make an airtight case. That way Lana would never have to forge anything.
I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes them a tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma.
What is it?
You said you were in Lana's office at the time, right?
That's right.
Well, why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor?
There's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day.
Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police?
Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office.
Why did he run all the way over to your sister's office?
Because the detective's offices in the questioning room are right across from the elevator.
Across from the elevator? The one where Edgeworth's dad got shot. It's all coming together! No, I'm just kidding. But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she?
No, silly. Didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force.
What? This is news to me. Why doesn't anybody tell me anything ever? Why does it take 4 days into a trial for somebody to tell me stuff?
After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor.
That's a... She went from being a detective in the police to becoming the chief of prosecutors, a lawyer. Japan, your legal system is wacky. Okay, anyway. Lana used to be a detective? I better have another talk with her. Yeah, probably. I don't know. Whatever. Let's go. My toes. Sounds like your little doggo wants to play really bad. Lana? Oh,
Lana.
Mr. Wright. It seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were really the type, you know? Criminals don't mind playing foul, why should we?
Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty.
Can't police officers become aware, though? They just study for go to school? Yeah, but I mean... You just got a nice little switcheroo there, it seemed like. They're playing, but I'm hurting. Doggy, why? Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana, Emma told me about you. Oh. About how you were a detective 2 years ago. And how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office, and how you forged evidence, and that's right. Can you fill me in on the details? Especially the part about the unusual change of jobs? Thank you, Phoenix, right? Ace Attorney? Suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. Yeah, you know, stuff you should probably tell me, like, in the first place. A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today. Not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be.
That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth.
It couldn't be helped. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is, at 5:15 there was no murder at the police department.
Tell me it's not true, Lana. What the witness, Miss Starr, said. Had you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife? Lana, I don't understand. Why would you tell us?
Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so phased before. It's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago.
She was amazing. We used to talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together.
Chief Gant?
He was
The deputy chief of police, but he still worked the crime scenes. David Gant. He was everything I aspired to be.
They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed.
Emma really idolizes her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective no idea if it's charged. It looked like it is. Let's see. Well, it hasn't died yet, but I want to charge this. I have a cord right here. I still can't tell if it's charging. I plugged it in. Whoa. Okay, well, we'll see what happens.
An experience investigating crime scenes, so you could use that experience in court, right?
That's why she was a detective. Oh, okay. Can't help in the SL9 case. It was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became chief of police. And arranged my transfer to the prosecutors. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. Dark investigation. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Doc. Second in command? That means the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right? Yes. Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office in the same investigations. Now I will detail. They even had the same office. He led a team of the best detectives in the force. Detective Goodman, whose case was Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer.
They asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place. When he tried to murder Emma.
Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark.
You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us. Gant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down and fled the room. From there he ran straight to
The office shared by Deputy Chief.
Oh, sorry. He switched to her, so I thought it was her voice. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gant and myself.
Spree found me.
So you were the first person to run into the scene, Lana? It appears so. I was found some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark. Repperonis! How do you get stabbed in the back? Oh my gosh. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. Also, look how clean the scene is, and then look at the window, how pixely that is. Weird, right? 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma, who had passed out. The suspect was Joe Doc. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Ow, what? He struck a blow and got stabbed in the back at the same time? Doing a double knockout? How's that possible? Joe Doc had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? I noticed I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. I can't blame her after all her sister had gone through. After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident? That's right. What a coincidence, I don't buy it.
What are you saying?
There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident, just by chance.
That case was solved 2 years ago.
At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall, yes, his actions came as quite a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely. I guess he wasn't
convinced of the ruling against Joe Dark.
Life doesn't end with the closing of the case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case just might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Jamie Gant and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself, the Chief's office. Maybe we should have a look at the Chief's office. The site of the final SL9 murder. Doing my best. I know the music's loud in this game. I don't see Detective Gumshoe anywhere.
He seemed kind of quiet around here today.
You're right. The chief of detectives seems the same, though.
Why don't we go look for some other people to talk to?
Right. We can come back here later. Well, I was just moving here so I could try to find a different... I'm just trying to find the way to get to his office, that's all. Howdy, Bambina.
Oh, Mr. Marshall.
I never thought things would turn out this way when I woke up this morning. Hey, Sarah, Sarah, you never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? I should have known my luck I'd run out when old Billy dried up this morning. What? Billy? Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed? Over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner. But I want to see a murder-involved romance. What?
But, Mr. Marshall,
Oh, like a love triangle where someone murders the other person or something?
why would you do it?
A lot of prospectors head west. If
ever there was a case I needed to know the truth about, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us what exactly happened? Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean fishy? All the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, a murder weapon. A murder weapon? You mean the switchblade knife with the broken tip? That was Joe Dark's alright. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised.
Question?
The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there's a good chance that knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. The facts have been concealed with forged evidence? That case left behind scars on all of us.
The scars that the SLR-9 has left behind.
I got the looks, but he got the brains. Talk about his brother. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together.
How old is he, your brother?
He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day.
The highest honor? You mean the...
They were prosecutors.
I knew it.
Oh, is that why a piece of the shield is broken? Because it was like a shiv or something? You're looking at me like that for. It's an honor for a prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother. First day they got to work together, his brother dies. That sucks.
The day the SL9ers took place, that wasn't the same day as...
That's right. That was the date of the evidence transfer. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning. Nightfall, there was thunder. Can't believe 2 years have gone by already. Tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. Apparently someone tried to stop you. Shield's broken because it was a what? I missed what you said. I said, maybe the shield's broken because that piece was used as a shiv. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty. There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. The detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of. Miss Starr was fired, and I was actually demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? They did something to him too. The commissioners would get suspicious. Well, they were careful enough to not be too obvious. They?
Who are you talking about?
Don't get upset, man. I mean Damon Gant, Alon Sky. Investigation lead Damon Gant was second in command Alon Sky. A shiv? A shank? Yeah, it's the same thing. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. This was the biggest step in both their careers. After the case ended, one transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah, Damon Gant knew the chief of police arranged for that to happen. Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. So basically, what he's saying is that they forged evidence to get Joe Dark convicted and killed. Then those two took the team that they used to get all the evidence and hold on to him and all that stuff. They broke that team up, demoting people and firing people and such and such. They left Goodman where he was so that it wouldn't look suspicious though. Never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. The prosecutor's guy was totally different when she was the detective. Now that he mentioned is that Emma said something like that too.
Tell me, what happened to my sister?
Sorry, Bambino, but her secret is too well guarded. I never found out. One secret? It all started 2 years ago. there you have it. The forged evidence, but you said he didn't kill her? Nobody killed her? I'm a little confused. But anyway. There you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? It was certainly enlightening. And one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. Someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? I don't blame you. Even I won't be a patrolman after today. I won't even be a patrolman after today. Man, I won't be around to work with you. He's like spit the cap off that thing. The whole rest of the time was he not drinking and just pretending to drink? You become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambi. I've missed the first part of his line, and he's gone. No one's here today, not even Miss Star.
Everyone's probably busy looking into exactly what happened in the evidence room. That must be where the detectives are.
But we proved in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15 p.m.
Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case.
It's actually filled with water? Yeah, probably. But instead it looks like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty.
In there, Lana.
I've got to find all the answers by tomorrow. Let's go talk to Edgeworth. Area 24, High Prosecutor's Office.
Mr. Edgeworth isn't here.
Maybe he's being questioned by an inquiry committee? He took a real beating in court today.
Yeah, with Lana admitting to falsifying evidence 2 years ago.
I guess we'll just have to come back later. How do I even get to... Dang it, game. I don't know how to get to Gant's office. Wow, for the camera. This guard monitors the visitor room. He seems frozen in place, cowering under this room's oppressive atmosphere. Bruh. Can I get there from the right field offices? I don't know how to get there. Can't go to the evidence room? Okay, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. What the guide here? Alright, I can't use my... Alright, hold on. Head to the detention center, talk to Lana about today's trial, blah blah blah. Talk about Joe Dark, head to the police department. Jake. Speak with Jake. And then that. And then head to the chief's office. Oh, I had to go back in here after talking to Jake. Okay. Sometimes it's a little confusing. The place is always pretty empty, but today it's deserted.
That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes.
Oh, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room. Thanks. Wow, he actually talked to us. The chief of prosecutors saying what she did and the decision about what to do about Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statement to the media in tomorrow's trial. There's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. Big festive is the word usually used for those.
Sir, we'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office.
Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor.
Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything.
Hey, you're right. You can't go in there. That's off limits. Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the chief's office, anyway.
Let's see how this guy's book's going. Now I see one of the detectives. He's mumbling something to himself. That's it! The villain used a time machine. Very clever indeed. That would explain the alibi. Future might not be so far away after all. He's not writing a report, he's writing a novel. Nose is so itchy right now. Okay. February 24th, Police Department Chief's Office. Whoa, where am I?
The chief's office, silly. At least that's what it said on the door.
Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it?
Yeah, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Bach. I thought I was a genius until they tried teaching me notes. Never could remember where C was.
Oh, it's you two! Chief Gant! You put that paper he was reading on in his desk. So, Raito, have you been swimming lately? No, I haven't. I've been kind of busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too, with Mr. Marshall's misconduct and Lana's proactive statement. Provocative statement? Oh, you mean about the forged evidence? 2 years have passed since that incident. My, how time flies! See that big picture on the wall over there? That's a picture of Lana, Neil, and me. And some sort of futuristic super robot on the far right. Yes, we are in Japan after all. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. We took it to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. Oh! I see it. There's a big one. There's two things, but there's a big one. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it, though. Can't team picture added to the court record. Did you just steal the picture off my wall, Raito? Doesn't seem appropriate. Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's go out together.
Oh, but this office was the crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it?
That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same, we'd still like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. And I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. Well, this thing looked significantly different. This piece was still busted off there back then when they gave it to Neil, but there was a whole nother part attached to this. If you didn't see it, I'll just tell you. Not only was there a shield that's kind of facing this way, there was a sword facing this way. The other thing was, in the background of that photo, there was this vase, only, you know, not broken.
Looks like we aren't welcome.
It seems that case isn't over with yet after all.
What do you mean?
Chief can't deny a request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there.
You mean, like, a clue?
There's gotta be a way we can get inside the Chief's office. Gumshoe! Where are you, Gummy? Didn't want to have it? The sword? Neil had it. Oh yeah, what was the vase from again? We don't really know. But, yeah. So we probably want to go talk to Gotta be Gumshoe, right? So Gumshoe's probably gonna be back in the police's office. Hey, pal! Detective Gumshoe, aren't you supposed to be in a meeting?
I'm, just taking a breather. My feet hurt.
You sitting so long?
Actually, I'm serving everyone coffee.
Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop. Say, have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No. Why do you ask? He's on a file from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battle between you two in court. That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? That's basically what it all boils down to.
That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has a whole world after his blood.
Yikes. Gumshoe music. Edgeworth crisis. But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Lana Skye is the guilty party here, right?
Regardless, the prosecutor is responsible for the evidence they present in court.
Not only that, but as you know, there have been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth. His amazing talent as a prosecutor kept him safe from those who don't like him. But now with this... Are there really so many people who hate him? Oh, well, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's young, and there's no better recipe that I know for making enemies.
Hey, Dick, keep up the good work!
Yes, sir.
Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat.
Yes, sir.
You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick?
Yes, sir. Seems like you don't have any problem with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. No, all that flesh all. I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might quack. Actually, took a look at the file earlier. While the coffee was boiling. He seems generally concerned for Mr. Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything? The only evidence Doc left behind was during his final attack. His final attack? You mean when he killed Prosecutor Marshall, who was trying to save some girl? He was over there with his ice cream cone head. Me. It seems Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl. That's when he left. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all. Well, what was it? Oh, let's see. I think it had something to do with the mortal weapon. No rifle. But it's all written somewhere here, okay? His powers of recollection never fail to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. It might jog his memory. Dark's crime. Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He's just a one-of-the-mill businessman. Businessman? What made him take to serial killing? One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. His car? So, it was an accident? An accident, yes. But it transformed him into an animal. An animal? An animal? Killed a man, witnessed the accident. Then he killed a lady who saw it at the crime. Then the kid just walked by too, so he killed him, and then when he was burying the bodies, the doggo came across it and was killed as well. Finally, he turned himself in. Looks like he was a pretty careless animal. Yeah, that was all auto-scrolling. I had to be like, try to catch up with that. Boss, this is all conjectural. It wasn't a single shred of evidence. How could there not be evidence for a spontaneous, penta murder before going into the sextuple murder or whatever? Though he turned himself in. Yes, in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered the final victim. Prosecutor Marshall. There he is, right there in your memory, with his onion head. That crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Doc was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed. That last witness, aka Emma. About this. Hey, is that... It has a tag attached to it with the SL9 incident on it. And I believe this would be the broken murder weapon that you were speaking of. What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, that knife's been locked away in a locker.
The day Detective Goodman was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker. It was found in Mr. Edwards' car muffler.
That's it. Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me.
Oh, what is it, Detective? Quick, before you forget again.
This knife? It was Joe Dark's, wasn't it? That's why. We traced it back to the store and bought it. Plus, it had his fingerprints on it.
But no one actually witnessed him use it to murder anyone, right?
That's what his luck ran out. You take a good look at this knife. You'll see it's broken.
You don't have to take a good look at it to notice that.
Yeah, well, anyway. Take a guess where the broken tip-off of the knife was found. That's what did him in.
Where was it?
The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. It was found deep inside the stab wound. Did it match Dark's knife? You bet, down to the last fiber.
That's pretty conclusive.
No, I don't believe it. It was found the victim's body. Don't believe it. I mean, it could have been, but I'm pretty sure he was stabbed by the tripper. Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can I ask you one more thing? What is it? If it's money you need, you should ask Chief again. It's not money, but it does concern the Chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered.
The Chief's out now, and his office is locked. We'd like to have a look around if that's okay.
Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door.
What? Really?
But if I let a civilian in now, I'd be charged with a breach of trust.
Breach of trust?
Simply put, I'd be canned. Oh. Sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you.
How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's.
That won't work either. The data was deleted on the day he died.
Oh.
So in other words, Gumshoe was our only chance of getting into the office.
Now I wonder if there's something we could show him that would make him change his mind.
Well, what are you gonna show me there, pal? I don't know. What would let us into the office? Do you need like a $5 bill? Would that be enough? Because I don't have that either. I wish I had $5. Yeah, buddy, $5 foot long. I have no idea. Nope, that wasn't it. Something that lets us into the camp? About that job. I think I've seen it before somewhere. Somewhere? Oh, maybe it's one of those memories people have from their previous lives. This must be one of the most uninformative detectives I've ever met. Think about it, makes me feel uneasy. Like I'm in a do something. He's yelling at me. She can't? How could I have seen that before? Right here. No! In the photo, you dumb. You big dumb. I was in the bathroom. I alternate between being quiet and having to visit the crime place. You know, the usual. But we can find out. We're trying to get in the Gam's office because we think he's hiding something from us because he kicked us out of the office. And what's his face? Marshall? Yeah, Marshall was like... he forged evidence or whatever, so... we're trying to get Gumshoe to let us in. Gumshoe gave us the autopsy report from Neil, which says that the tip of that knife was lodged in his body. Yeah, okay. Yeah. We just trying to figure out what we can get him that'll let us into that office. I don't know. Sounds like you're talking really quietly. Try. Okay. Oh, okay. Looks like I need to come back and talk to him. Oops. 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 Nope. Whoops. I wonder if Edgeworth is back yet.
Here he is. Looks like he's writing something.
What are you doing here?
He sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. Tough day in court, huh?
I've had to live the past 2 years with rumors flying around. What's another allegation to me?
Cheer up, Mr. Edgeworth.
Cheer up, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm rooting for you.
That's Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings.
And so what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day.
I'm just gonna look at that paper that you threw on the floor suddenly. I wonder what he was writing before.
Come on, Mr. Wright, let's take a look.
Are you crazy? Edgeworth is sitting right there.
Just distract him. I'll check it out.
Hey, Edgeworth. Is that Detective Gumshoe out the window there? Oh no, he's falling to the ground.
Hold on. First let me see what that girl's doing crawling around by my feet.
He didn't even look.
What?
If you're having trouble reading it, I'll read it for you. It says letter of resignation.
Resignation? Edgeworth, you don't mean...
I'm tired, Mr. Wright. And I feel as if something inside me has died.
But Mr. Edgeworth, none of it's your fault.
I know the path I've walked. You don't need to tell me. And the path I've walked hasn't been a just one. And I can't forgive myself for what I've done. And no one else should forgive me either.
Uh-oh, I think he's serious.
Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something.
This letter of resignation. I wonder if I can use it for anything. Oh, I can show it to Gumshoe as leverage to get him to help me. Edgeworth discarded the letter of resignation. He's serious.
There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. That's what it all breaks down to, and nothing I can do can erase the fact.
But you didn't know, did you? I mean, that evidence was falsified.
The police department and the prosecutor's office share a bond of trust. And if that bond is broken, we stand to lose everything. The police department's error is my error, and my responsibility as the prosecutor in charge. That fact remains the same no matter what excuses I might have.
Mr. Edgeworth.
And I take pride in my work. So tell me why? Why has it come to this?
Oh, I do like a Mr. Burns voice. I just realized that. I'm gonna do Edgeworth. Lol. Because he's like this fancy rich dude in his office, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that. Anyway. Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotion bottled up. Are you up for the trial tomorrow?
First last year's trial, and now this one. It seems all you do is worry about me. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves.
Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk out on the trial.
Tomorrow's the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I bet that's what my superiors are banking on. I never thought that case would come back to haunt me like this.
What do you mean?
The list of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long.
It's only half as long as most lists? That is odd.
And after Neil Marshall was murdered, I became prosecutor for that case. And I may not have been part of the investigation, but I knew what I had to do. And use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect guilty.
Yes, that's your job.
That was really the only thing on my mind at the time.
Say, we just draw a picture taken around that time. That picture? Something seems strange about it. Oh, we just saw the picture, yeah. Oh, it wants me to... Okay, I need to present the picture to him after I'm done talking to him. Also, these little boxes on the text up here, they perfectly cover his eyes and mouth. It's weird. Anyway. Can you tell us again about what happened that day? The day Detective Goodman was murdered? You were participating in the ceremony over at the station, right?
I never cared much for ceremonies, but I had to attend that one.
Because you were awarded this?
Those receiving awards can't exactly skip out on the ceremony. And I finished up at the office in the morning and drove to the police department.
You finished up at the office?
Yes. Just odds and ends, clerical stuff. 2 dads and whiz bangs, you know.
They do, and weird. Yeah.
And I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. And that is until I was asked to take something back.
Take something back?
This.
Oh yeah. Chief K asked me to ask you to hold on to that, right? I mean, he asked you to hold on to that, right? Yeah.
Yes, it was a piece of evidence in that case that was closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office.
That's the story we heard yesterday. You came back here to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to?
That's right.
This picture is hanging on the wall of Chief Gant's office. Prosecutor Neil Marshall, he just started making a name for himself.
It looks like this was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy.
Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me.
Yes?
The trophy that Mr. Marshall's holding, it's a little different than yours.
Yes, you're right. That one has a sword that could be stabbed into someone's body during a murder. I remember it now.
Remember what?
And that was what the official prosecutor trophy looked like until 2 years ago. And there's a story behind its design.
A story? Oh, sorry. A story? Sounds interesting. Would you mind telling it to us?
It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award is based on. This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written as 2 characters. The first means halberd, and the second means shield. Have you heard this story?
Me? Oh, sure. Everyone knows that. Why don't you tell it, though, for Emma's sake?
Very well.
You know what it is, Mr. Wright? Well, you just tell it anyway. I like how it plays this music.
Long ago in the kingdom of Chu,
It's a story time with Edgeworth, by the way.
there was an arms merchant. One day he presented the king with 2 items, an unblockable shield and an unpenetrable spear. The first was a halberd he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon.
A halberd is a type of...
Objection!
Those claims contradict each other! I like how Phoenix is so into the story that the music's like... Okay. A halberd is a... It's basically an axe on the end of a stick. So, I don't mean like a hatchet or like a fireman's axe. I mean like a giant war spear with a... It's like a giant war spear with an axe head on the very end. So anyway, I think it also has like a pike thing, so you can use it to stab or slash from super far away. I think people on horses use it. Usually? I don't know. Anyway. Those claims contradict each other!
Very perceptive, but then again, you've heard the story before, right? And anyway, as you mentioned, very descriptions of these items discredit them both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless, and thus the Chinese word for contradiction was born.
Oh, I see. So the chip shield and the broken knife symbolize...
Precisely so. They symbolize the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words. But it's in our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion, even if it results in something as ugly as this.
Wow, thanks, Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today.
That's funny. That's so then, why were you only given a shield?
You'll have to ask Chief Gant. 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the award abolished.
Chief Gant? Now I gotta go talk to Gumshoe. Oh, I gotta go talk to Lunch Lady, probably. Excuse me. No, I know it's her. Excuse me. Would either of you care for a quarter-pound of roast beef? You're a star. I guess she's out of lunches. You certainly are the curious sort, aren't you? Kinda like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple to discover milk. How about never say that sentence again, you weirdo? Still, I would have thought you'd be digging up the case from 2 years ago. Everyone in this trial was involved in the SL9 incident. I'm sure he did. He's like, you knew this already, right? Not only that, but the murder occurred the very day of the evidence. The very day the evidence from that case was due for transferal. This can't be all attributed to a mere coincidence. Aren't you forgetting something? You know, that little scene I happened to witness? The instant one to stab Detective Goodman with a knife. No matter how much of the past you dig up, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be severed when eaten. Okay. Miss Star's hatred towards Lana. It all dates back to 2 years ago. Oh, we need to talk to you again. Joe Dark. That's the name I'll not soon forget. We trailed him for half a year. Oh, the pressure. Still, and then he turned himself in, it said. Still, I don't think I was ever more alive than I was then. Those days were steamier than a bowl of hot gravy. Poor old Jake Marshall, though. He must have been going through hell. You mean because of his brother's death? They were close, those two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed. Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate. Her? Lana Sky. My sister? The best of the best were put on the SL9 case. Of course, they were led by that legendary duo.
Lana and Chief Gant.
Hot gravy. That legendary pair was the reason we were able to keep up our investigation. That's why we were so shocked how it turned out. You mean with the forging of the evidence? Don't get me wrong, Joe Dark got what he deserved. Still, it was obvious the evidence produced in court was being manipulated. Items our team never found would suddenly appear, while other items were kept secret.
But you don't have proof anything illegal was done.
I'm proof enough of what happened. After that case, all of us, save Goodman, were relieved of our duties. Most without even so much as an explanation. Then Lana Sky transferred to the prosecutor's office and became chief prosecutor.
Lana always wanted to be a prosecutor.
Nothing's quite as simple as it appears.
Huh?
Lana Sky was merely being used as a pawn. That's my take on the matter. She was being used? Damon Gant and Lana Sky. Gant led the investigation with Lana second in command. They were the best. Like, oh my gosh.
They solved all kinds of cases together, didn't they?
Even against magnetism in particular was almost real. He kind of sounds like Plankton, and he like laughs a lot and says, "Righto, old boy." It's pretty great. Righto, old boy. His magnetism? I mean his ability to attract evidence. He produced the most incredible evidence in the cases he handled. Incredible evidence? You mean? Oh yes, there were rumors about him even back then. No one dared confront him though. And I hate it because she's talking about the forged evidence. Back then, everyone looked up to Lana. All the detectives wanted to be just like her. Me too. Really? Oh, yeah, like myself included. I was a fool, really. She hated everything crooked. She hated anything crooked, and always watched out for the other detectives. That's why she was so concerned for Jake. Mr. Marshall. When Jake's brother was murdered, she felt like she felt as if she had lost her own brother. And if it wasn't for her, I don't think Jake would have ever recovered from his shock. That's what makes all of this, like, infuriating. Star. That's why I'll never be able to forgive her. Why did she have to turn so cold after that? Like, I don't like things that are cold. These lunches? Gross, because they're all cold. No. I don't do that. Gross. You guys can have it. No. Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office 2 years ago, didn't she? Yes, thanks to Chief Gant's powerful influence. Chief? That's right. Having solved the S19 case, his position as chief was secure. There was only one thing left for him to control. And then no one could stand in his way. The prosecutor's office. Wait, you mean that's why Lana was transferred? If he could control the chief prosecutor, he could control the prosecutor's office. That must have been his goal all along. But how could he control Lana? I don't know. But one thing's for sure, ever since that case ended, she's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude there must have been a reason for her change. At last, I'm finally getting close to the bottom of this ugly mess. Thank you, Mr. Starr. Miss Starr. You listen to me, Ricky. Don't call me Mr. again, okay? It takes more than just ingredients to create fine cuisine. I hope you turn out to be a better chef. I was starting to say chief. Realized it said chef, and I said chef. I hope you turn out to be a better chef than I thought. I don't really want to talk to you. I don't really want to, like, talk to you anymore. Where the heck were we going? Oh, Gant's office. Oh yeah, talk to Gumshoe. Give him the thing. Oh, you're back. You're still here. I gotta make 150 copies of these files. Booing, copying files. I'm turning into a regular DJ. You're a DJ as well? If I'm not mistaken, I think he means desk jockey. Oh, that DJ. I gotta admire your consistency, but my answer is still no. I'm not winning you guys in the chief's office, period. It'd be my neck on the line. That office is the last crime. That office is the last crime scene of the SL9 incident. I'll have to take a look in there. And there's gotta be something we can do to make the detective change his mind. Oh man, the only way you guys can change my mind is if you show me Edward's letter of recommendation. Oh. Well, I have a resignation. What's that crumpled up piece of paper? No way! Mr. Edgeworth can't be serious! Is he ever not serious? I can't believe they pushed him this far. Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible. When I first met him, I thought he was as cold as ice too. But I know different now. He twisted us detectives to provide him with sound evidence. But we betrayed him. Detective. That's it. I've made up my mind.
But
Here, take my ID card. We can't do that. If someone found out,
they wouldn't let you off the hook with another lost item report.
they wouldn't let you off the hook with an outside. But yeah. Look at me. No secret I'm already out of the loop. After all, I'm friends with Mr. Wedgeworth. Depending on how this case turned out, I may already be as good as Tony.
What?
At least let me do this, for Mr. Edgeworth's sake. Alright, Detective. Thank you. Oh, anyway. What a good day, am I right? February 24th, Police Department, Chief's Office.
Here goes, Mr. Wright.
Yeah. Everybody likes Edgeworth. I mean, dumb shit. Hey, there's that creepy statue that took a photo of that. The vase used to be behind it.
We're in. If anyone finds us now,
Detective Gumshoes is gone. If that happens, I'm counting on you to bail me out. Yeah!
sorry, I thought you were a ghost.
I didn't even know you could slap a ghost.
Nah, Detective Gumshoe.
What are you doing sneaking up on us like that? I wasn't sneaking, pal. I just worried something might go wrong. So I came too.
If you're here, then what's the point of giving us your ID card?
Gumshoe's ID crushed and rendered unusable in his pocket. What? Hey, don't do that to my card! I hardly ever get a chance to come in here, but I figured I'd have a look around myself. Besides, we're all in this together now.
You really do want to get fired, don't you?
Not if we're lucky. Now come on, let's see what we can find out. I got a bad feeling about this. Yeah? Ooh, yeah? What's this?
That was cooked with
Chicken?
yeah. That's what
Oh, it's got buffalo sauce.
you can use that.
Yeah, I picked this up.
It was cooked with a whole bunch of red robin seasoning, but
Propylene glycol. Favorite. Okay, well this is hard mode now. The game is now in hard mode because I am eating. In addition to... Oh man, those are good potatoes. Holy cow. Alright. Pick at this as I go on. Was what a King of the Hill reference? Hard mode? It's chicken, green beans, and mashed potatoes. That desk on the other side of the room, was that your sister's?
Yes, that's why I was waiting for Lana.
Huh? Oh, milk? Thank you. Polypropylene glycol? No, that was just on the thing that my mom gave me. Anyway.
That day 2 years ago.
Is anyone using it now? No, sir. This is entirely cheap for Gant's office now. Collectors is a strict policy of preserving the crime scene. That's a strange reason to leave it here. It leaves it as a sort of warning to everyone else. Wants us to always be on alert. Told us himself at our New Year's party. So, of course, he was pretty intoxicated at the time.
I see. Ever since Lana left, no one ever touches that desk?
No one except Chief Gant and the cleaning lady is in here each morning. Still, 2 years have passed since that incident. There can't be possibly any clues remaining. Can I ask you something? Sure. You only came here to look around, right? Because it's one of the SO9 crime scenes? I mean, that's the only reason we're coming here, isn't it? Why do you ask? You don't think... Nah. You wouldn't be... No. There was no way. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Okay, now let's look around a bit more. Hey, hold on! Not so fast, buddy. Huh? What is it? Someone tells you don't worry about it, you're supposed to start bothering you, pal. You can't just let it go at that. Sorry, this guy's trying to get on my nerves. Okay, so what's bothering you? You two don't think... Chief can't. Might be a suspect, you know?
What? He's right, Mr. Wright. What do we think of him?
Chief can't. So it's finally come to this. What do I think of him? Perhaps it's best I don't divulge my feelings yet. There you go, ignoring me again. Bruh. I examine his suit of armor. This is a real deal, isn't it? This armor and these weapons? Sure is, pal. Chief doesn't care about imitations. First the pipe organ, now this armor? You know how many taxpayer dollars must have gone into this room?
What? You were paying for this? That's it. I'm not paying 1 cent of my taxes.
You don't have any taxes to pay. Shh, careful what you say. Who knows, the chief may be hiding this almost as we speak. I don't think he'll fit there. Even if he did, he'd never be able to get back out. Cut it out. You guys don't know how scary that guy can be.
Wow, look at the size of the Chief Gant's desk.
Speaking of that, when we were in here earlier... Oh, it's you two! Chief Gant! He put that paper somewhere he was reading in his desk. And I wonder what he was reading. This looks like a list of evidence. A list of evidence? In most cases, a list runs twice as long as this, though.
Hey, look at the case name.
Huh? Oh, SO9 incident. I wonder what this is doing here. Hold on, detective. What'd you just say? I said, I wonder what. No, about the evidence list. Normally they're twice as long? That's right. I guess there wasn't a lot of evidence. A half-size list of evidence.
This list of evidence, it seems too short. Most lists are around twice as long.
What would the other half of the list be doing here?
I knew it! Chief must be hiding something about that case.
It would appear so. This list of evidence was ripped in half. This is all I've got. Look at the size of the desk. This is what we found inside. Mr. Edgeworth had the other half of that list. I wonder what this list would be doing here. The Chief's organ sure is a sight to behold. Occasionally we hear him playing it from the Criminal Affairs Department. That's on the 2nd floor, and this is the 15th floor of an entirely different building. When a detective screws up, the Chief calls them to his office and makes them listen to the organ for hours.
What's so bad about that? Music soothes the soul.
After that, the detective can't hear anything for days except the winging in the house. So it's an instrument of punishment, literally.
But aren't the Chief's ears infected?
He never listened to anyone anyway. That's besides the point. That's kind of funny. These shelves are mostly empty. Lana must have cleaned them out when she transferred over to the prosecutor's office. There's a small picture frame left on the shelf.
Hey, this is when Lana and I went to that theme park.
Look at that giant window. Makes you want to crash through it and jump outside. This is the 15th floor. I know, I'm just saying. Saying what? Ever since making detective, I've always dreamed about doing something like that.
Note to self, Detective Gumshoe has a lot of dreams.
So long as he doesn't go crashing through windows when he gets fired.
Don't say that.
This is Lana's desk. I'm sure it sure is tidy. Lana's always been a meticulous cleaner. Also, she doesn't work here. There's not even any dust on it. What? Looks like someone is keeping it clean. Does Lana ever come back here? No. Chief Camp must still keep it clean in the memory of their partnership. They were the stuff of legends to be made of. Made of. Does he keep her in memory of her or in memory of the crime? Does he keep it in memory of her or the crime?
This was taken on the day 2 years ago. The day Joe Dark ran.
The day Joe Dark ran out of the question and tried to kill Emma. After receiving his award trophy, Mr. Marshall took a picture here. Then went along with Chief Gant to question Doc. But he never knew that he'd be dead just a few hours later. Gee, you think? Okay. Did they go to Disneyland? Oh. MM Land or whatever it's called? This is safe, isn't it? Safe. That ward is right within Tweed. No, okay, if you say so.
It looks like a code's needed to be entered into the panel to open it.
A 7-digit number. I think I might just know what it is. You know what it is? I have a hunch. Oh, I know. You want to try my birthday? It's... I have a better idea. Here goes nothing. I'm gonna eat my food. Well, hi. I don't know where you left me off, but you responded to my food like minutes after I brought it up, so I was wondering if your app was way, way, way behind. We just examined everything in his room, in Gant's room, and now I have this piece of chicken I need to try and get through. Now we're going to see if we can open the safe in his room with a 7-digit number. Gee, I wonder what... Maybe it's the only thing that it could... The most secure number that could even be put in. Bingo.
What number did you enter?
Whose birthday was that, pal? 777777777 or whatever. Final ID card number on that record.
What?
The number of the mysterious executive officer who entered the room that day. Need to eat extra chicken to make up for the other day. Oh, because I didn't eat any meat or whatever? Did a little bit today, it was tuna. Oh gosh, how? The bottom of this thing wet? Ow. That doesn't make sense. The number of the mysterious executive officer entered the room that day. You mean 7777777 data ID number? I think you're 1 7 shy this time. This can only mean one thing. That's Chief Gant's ID number.
Say, anyone care to look inside?
So, if you haven't made your prediction for who actually did it, you've been given massive hints from every character almost in the last part of this investigation. There won't any money in there. How much does he have stashed away?
Look, it's a
shard from a broken cup. This somehow looks familiar. Where have I seen this before?
something else in here too.
What's this? It looks like a piece of leather cloth. Like that one that guy was chewing on when we questioned him.
This is a handprint, isn't it?
Hey, I saw someone wearing a shirt like that once. You think the chief made up that design?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, well, it was just a thought.
Was that it? Was that all that was in the safe?
Apparently so. And it's empty now. A piece of cloth with a handprint on it. And a broken shard from a cup. They look like pieces of evidence. Yeah, but unless you can prove they have something to do with this case, I'm afraid I can't just let you take them. After all, it's all my neck on the line here. Great, now I have to prove their relevancy to get them. Now are these two items related to the SL9 incident?
Come on, there's gotta be something we can show the detective.
Well, there's that. Detective Gumshoe, could you have another look at this jar? I remember when the three of us put that back together. Oh, those were the days. Kind of early to be nostalgic.
Wasn't this jar a piece of evidence from that case?
That's right. One of them shards had the SL9 incident sticker on it. Doesn't this ring any bells? You know, that fragment we just found? Are you having internet problems? I mean that one that was in the safe.
Yeah, that one. That was in the safe.
Now that you mention it, it's ringing a lot of bells. Let's see if it fits. Here, let me see that shard. I'll take a crack at this. Go ahead, pal. Show us what a Wookiee can do. A Wookiee? Okay, sorry. Anyway.
Mr. Wright, here's some glue.
If I can piece this back together again, it'll prove Chief Gant was knowingly hiding evidence. Here goes. Okay. There, it fits like a charm. That, of course, means Chief Gant willingly and knowingly hid a piece of this jar in his safe. In other words, he concealed a piece of evidence from the SL9 incident. But, hey guys, get a load of this! What is it? This piece you just attached. It's different from the others.
There's a reddish line on it.
A reddish line.
That's blood.
I don't get it. Why would Chief Gant hide this in his safe? And then do the fingerprint. Detective Gumshoe, I'd like you to have you take a look at this. Hey, I know what that is. So you want to take some fingerprints?
That's a great idea, detective.
Oh, go to town. Sheesh. What are you doing? Why are you sticking out your hand? Or what are you doing? Why are you sticking out your hand like that? Go ahead, take my fingerprints.
It's not your fingerprints we want to take.
Oh, come on. Well, come on, this isn't the time for jokes. I'm talking about that cloth we found in the safe. Oh, I knew that. The one with the hand point on it, right? Please, where's your sense of humor?
Mr. Wright, let's check for prints. Sprinkle powder on the cloth, and once they've been absorbed into the prints, blow the rest away.
What are you, my mom? I don't have to be told a million times. Alright, let's get this over with. I gave it my best shot.
That kind of result won't be any good for matching prints, will it?
It doesn't look like we get a clearer result from this print.
Okay, let's try a different finger then.
Even the dusting for fingerprints song is great. Ooh, that's terrible. I gave it my best shot.
What kind of result will we get any good for prints? Blah blah blah.
Blah blah blah. I like how they have all these ones that don't work because that's probably realistic. But yeah. Oh, that looks like a print that'll work. Emma Sky, huh? I like all of them except for Gant's organ music theme. Dun, 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 dun. It's his specific theme, so you won't hear it anywhere else. Same with the Officer Marshall song. No, how can this be? What are Emma's fingerprints doing here?
Hey, you found a match? Whose fingerprints were they?
It seems the prints are too old. Never clear enough to get a match.
Oh, that's too bad. I thought they'd be darks.
Hey, you, over here. What's going on here? What's that kid Punch doing inside the chief's safe? Don't ask me. Let's just keep this information from Emma for some reason. Yeah, maybe you should hold on to this. Found a chief can't say for something, but what? There's Emma Sky's prints. Well, was I any help? Of course. Thanks to your ID card, we were able to get some hard evidence. Now that's not very kind, is it? In other words, if it wasn't for his ID card, he would have been useless. Isn't that right, you in the coat? Chief Gant, we didn't think you'd be back so soon. Unfortunately, I'm a man who believes in signs. As I was walking to my meeting, I happened to look out a window and saw a stray dog run right into a pole. Just then I thought of a certain detective. You mean me, so? Now then, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you all to leave.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Oh, you in the coat. Esau. Drop off your ID card on the way out. You won't be needing it anymore. But so. Now get out. Yes, sir. We'll be on our way too then. Wait. You, the one with the spiky hair. Don't go yet.
Me, sir?
I'd like a word with you.
But, sir, I'm not a licensed scientific investigator yet.
You with the spiky hair. You're free to go. Wait, what? Did I misread that? What?
Mr. Wright.
I wouldn't leave her,
Look, pal, I told you once, I told you 1,000 times. The chief's office is off limits. But no, you just had to go sneaking in there like that, didn't you? And I thought you said you didn't care anymore if you were fired. Yeah, but if I knew it'd be like this, I never would have said it. Now that I've seen the evidence Chief Gant was hiding in his office, I think I'm finally starting to get the picture. But why has she kept eerily silent about this the whole time? Anyway, you listening to me? I'm gonna try to smooth things over with the Chief again. Later, pal.
After that, I heard from Emma. She said the police wanted to ask her some questions, so she'll be busy for the rest of the day. I see. So the chief asked Emma to come in for questioning. It's no use! That's Sonic 06, Silver, anyway. It's no use thinking about it. Tomorrow's the final day in court. I'm committed to doing everything I can to defend you, which is why I'm here. But I've already told you all I can. What you've told me over these past couple of days is absolutely nothing. Not a single useful thing. Yeah, you tell her. Really, I do believe I've mentioned something quite important. Something I told you right at the beginning. I said I was the one who stabbed Detective Goodman. You know, I think I've finally figured it out. I know who it is that's lurking behind your words. Mia did a good job mentoring me. I'm rather jealous. It seems Edgeworth is right. Edgeworth? Once you're convinced you know something, no one can persuade you otherwise. Thick-headed is the term he used, I think. Now's my chance to get her to tell me the rest of the story! I have to admit I was more than a little perplexed at first. You insisted you did it, yet there was no incriminating evidence. That's what hit me. It's not that you're unwilling to tell the truth. It's that you're incapable of doing so because of a certain individual. What an intriguing notion. A certain individual, you say. You think I'm protecting this person? Protecting? No, I think afraid of is more like it. If I'm not mistaken, the person in question may have persuaded you to silence. For argument's sake, Mr. Wright, who, may I ask, is this person you're speaking of? The one I'm supposedly frightened of? What's this person's name, Gant? Take that! I don't trust Emma one of them. Yeah, I don't either. Well, Miss Sky? Mr. Wright, we're judging the chief prosecutor. Do not forget your place. I take it she's still not ready to spill the beans. My apology. Would you please tell me a bit more about what you think you know? We were partners until 2 years ago. I respected him as a detective. Assuming he is respectable, then tell me something. Why would he try to hide his crimes? His crimes? Both you and Edgeworth will be brought before a board of inquiry for what you did. Specifically hiding and forging evidence. Of course, these are serious offenses. Why is it, though? The Chief Gant's name's never mentioned. Chief Gant? Edgeworth didn't know about the truth behind the forgery. The only party who could have possibly tampered with the evidence was me. I had access because I was second in command to that investigation. Yes, but you also had one other, Damon Gant. You intend to accuse Chief Gant. You need more than just words. Show me proof that Chief Gant falsified evidence in that case. Okay, here's a rag. Take that! You want proof the Chief's wrongdoings? Here it is. That evidence proves someone is doing something wrong already. But it's not the Chief. Who would that be? Why, you, of course. Me? Yes. You seriously believe what you're saying, don't you? Now that's scary. You seem to have the makings of a criminal in you, but with all your fallacious accusations. You're to spend tonight in the cell next to mine. You ask me, you're the scary one. Is that the wrong... That's probably the wrong thing. Torn evidence list? I just found this in the safe in the chief's office. This jar piece and this piece of cloth. Do you know what these are? They're pieces of evidence from the SL9 incident. The person concealing evidence is none other than Chief Gant himself. Now tell me, why are you taking all the blame for him?
Touche, Mr. Wright.
It's pronounced touche.
Yes, as you surmised.
I cannot disobey the chief's orders, even if it means being found guilty of murder. Why not?
I'm not Mr. Wright.
You can't possibly expect me to be able to tell you that. 3 days ago, I had no choice but to cooperate. In the murder of Detective Goodman. Perhaps I should say follow orders. That's more accurate than cooperate. Although I can't tell you the detail. I can say that I was given an order that day.
I need you to dispose of the body of Detective Bruce Goodman. You'll find it inside the trunk of Miles Edgeworth's car.
So as you can see, it clearly wasn't Damon Gant. Sounds nothing like him.
Just as I suspected. Despite what everyone believes, you were not the one who murdered Detective Goodman.
Correct. I was trying to take the body out of Edgeworth's car. The trunk's lock was broken, and I discovered the murder weapon while inspecting the body.
The murder weapon? You mean Edgeworth's knife?
No. When I found the body, the knife was stuck in it. This knife was stuck in it.
The knife from the SL9 incident, serial killer Joe Dark's knife.
I couldn't just leave a knife in it. So I took it out and stabbed him with another knife.
So that would be Edgeworth's knife?
That's right. Even though he was already dead, my hands were shaking at the thought of stabbing him. That's why I ended up cutting my hand.
And that's the reason for the bandage on your right hand.
Yes. It seems I got blood on the victim's shoe as well.
And then...
He saw me as I plunged the knife in.
Miss Starr, huh? Why did you need to hide Dark's knife so badly?
It took a lot of work to finally close the Dark case 2 years ago. It was over with. I didn't ever want it to be opened again. My intent was to prevent that by whatever means possible.
So you hid Dark's knife?
The weapon used to stab the detective with evidence in the Joe Dark case. If word got out, which it would, the reporters would have a field day.
So you wrapped the knife in your scarf and hid it? In Edgeworth's exhaust pipe?
Right. And I called my sister. To tell her what happened. And to ask her to hide the knife that was inside my muffler.
You asked Emma?
Didn't want anyone on the force to know about it.
That would explain why Emma was so confident about Wanda's innocence.
Speaking of phone calls, I had a bad feeling about one of them today. That day.
Bad feeling?
Truth is, after I received those orders from Chief Gant, first thing I did was make a phone call. A phone call to Patrolman Jake Marshall.
To Marshall? Why on earth would you call him? Well, I've been looking forward to your phone call, Lassie.
Lead investigator for SL9 incident and murder. I wanted that fact to be kept hidden. I needed help. He was the only other person I could trust. At least I thought I could trust him. However, seems that after I spoke to him, he went off on the escapade of his own.
Oh, you mean...
Wanting the case to die, he decided to take things into his own hands.
He disguised himself as Detective Goodman and tried to steal the evidence. I had a Detective Goodman outfit just sitting here waiting for the day.
He had already stolen the ID card.
But it seems he still hadn't made up his mind to break into the evidence room. Wait, why is she covering for him? Because he's the chief of police? Because he probably has... Well, my best guess is because of this. Got Emma's prints on it. Probably indicates her in some way. And then Wanda doesn't want that to get out. It's blackmail, most likely. I don't really know what it means, but... Yeah. Can you speak up, please? It sounds like you're whispering.
What?
I can see like the audio output and it's like 85%. I'm not sure I can, without like yelling, I'm not sure I can be much louder. Like I'm already like pretty close to the mic. After my phone call, any remaining doubts he had must have disappeared. So your phone call caused the incident in the evidence room? I'm afraid that's all I can tell you. But Lana, you've earned my respect, Mr. Wright, both as a defense attorney and an investigator. Now please, don't pursue this any further in court tomorrow. I'm not sure what I can do about that. Tomorrow's trial. There's only one way to drive off Lana's demons. I gotta get to the bottom of everything. Detective Goodman's real murderer. And what went down in the chief's office 2 years ago? No, those are Emma's prints, not Lana's prints. So, those prints probably somehow indicate Emma as doing something bad. Like maybe she accidentally killed Jake or Neil Marshalls or something. I don't know. I can't remember, but I'm gonna take away my dishes now. Okay, so we've been going for 3 hours. My voice actually doesn't feel too bad. Maybe because I've been munching on stuff and saliving a bunch. I don't know. This last part's gonna be really long, and it could probably be its own stream. So maybe tomorrow? You want to switch to watching some EPO or something? I'm guessing this next section is still another like 2 hours. Because each section of this trial has been like 2 hours. I mean, I could try to power through it, but it's pretty long, so. It's up to you. I'll let you make the call. Alright, I'll end stream here. So thanks for watching, and I'll make sure to archive this. And yeah, I'll see you in a minute.